The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
Waking humanity, one soul at a time. This is the World You Don't Know radio show with your host, Nick O'Connell.
You're very welcome along to this week's edition of The World You Don't Know with myself, Mick O'Connell. I haven't been on for the last 3 weeks, so this is my first show back, and I have a bit of a funny show for you tonight. I have a guy coming on now in a couple of minutes, Flat Earth Man, aka the conspiracy music guru, and I'm going to be playing a few of his tunes, and they're great tunes. I've been playing them the last couple of weeks on the show. Well, prior to 3 weeks ago, I haven't been up here in 3 weeks with the snow, and I had a bit of car problems last week, so I couldn't come up last week. Anyway, I'm going to go straight to this guy and find out a little about him and maybe play one or two of his tunes throughout the show. So sit back, buckle up and enjoy the show, and prepare to have your mind open by the lyrics of these songs. You won't have heard this kind of stuff anywhere before. Anyway, I'm going to go straight to Flat Earth Man. Good evening.
Are you there, Mike? Can you hear me?
I am indeed. I can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent. How are you, man? Thanks for having me on.
Are you playing music in the background?
I'm not playing music in the background, no. I have your speakers coming through in the background. Maybe I can turn them down a little bit. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear a bit of reggae or something in the background, but I'm not sure if it's coming from me.
It's definitely not coming from me, man.
Right. I'm not sure where it's coming from. Anyway, we'll plug away. So listen, tell me, what got you into writing songs about Flat Earth and NASA and other things like that?
Oh, man, I think it starts with the 9... Well, for me, it started with the 9/11. I mean, once I woke up to that, a guy came into my studio once upon a time about 5 or 6 years ago and said, hey, you got to look at this video. And it was about the supposed plane that hit the Pentagon. And, we got to see like 6 frames of that. That the Pentagon building must have 1 million cameras on it, but we only get to see 6 frames of this supposed plane hitting the Pentagon. And my eyes were open, and I thought, wow, that's so strange. Started looking into that, realised that the mainstream narrative of that event was absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
And continued my conspiracy research then. I think that was a tipping point for me. Then I started, to research. I understood then what the Illuminati was and the New World Order, and you start digging deeper, and then you come across people like Alex Jones, and then I soon grew out of that. You keep digging and digging and digging, and you learn about chemtrails and fluoride in the water, and it just goes on and on and on, and eventually you get to something as ridiculous as flat Earth. Yeah. Which of course you think it is ridiculous. Well, everybody that looks into that is presented with those 2 words thinks it is absolutely ridiculous, and I did. But of course, once you start digging, it's like everything else. The truth is stranger than fiction, and I think people need to ask themselves. People that think it's ridiculous need to ask themselves, why are there millions upon millions of people that are now rejecting what science is saying about where we live? Why are there millions and millions of people now rejecting about what all the space agency tell us what the world is? Now, using Occam's razor, you got to think, well, maybe these millions and millions of people are onto something, because they're not. People will think these flat earthers have lost their minds. But use Occam's razor here. Why are these millions and millions of people suddenly questioning what we've been told about where we live? So once I got to that point of understanding, as a musician, I had to put it into music. I had to just get it down in song form and do it as catchy and as informative and as entertaining as I possibly could, with a bit of comedic effect in it.
Well, I have to say,
I think that's what I've achieved.
But you have, and then some. I mean, I think your songs are absolutely fantastic. I love them. I love listening to them in the car. I love the reaction from people. You pull up at the lights and you can hear the music, and they're sitting there listening to the lyrics, and you just look in your window and say, "Yo, what the bleed hell is that fella listening to in the car?" But I mean, as I was growing up, I'm 46 years old, and me growing up in school, we were all taught about the globe earth and stuff like that. Now, look, I'm not a flat earther, I'm not a globe earther either, I'm neither. I'm on the fence. I've never got high enough to have a look back at this planet, and as far as I know, any photographs we've been shown, whether they've been illustrations in books or anything, I've since learned that apparently they're all composite images, so you can't really trust any of them.
Well, exactly. And that's the thing. We should have thousands upon thousands of photographs of where we live. But when you start to analyse them and you start to pull them apart a little bit, as many of the flat earth researchers have done, you start to find that they're composite images, and that you start going deep inside the rabbit hole at that point. You start scratching your head. Why are there no authentic photographs of Earth? Yeah. That was the tipping point for me, and that was the basis of the song that I wrote, which was called "No Photographs of Earth." I thought people should really understand and know that.
I've got that song queued up, so I'm going to play. I won't play the whole song because it's 5.5 minutes long, but I'll play most of it anyway. And this one is called "No Photographs of Earth." So sit back and have a listen to this, folks. And apparently, everything you say in this has a lot of truth to it. There are no actual real photographs of Earth, as you just said there. They're all composite images. So have a listen to this, folks, and see what you think. Be back in a couple of minutes. Sorry about that, folks. I think that's the karaoke version, so I'm going to go to a different version. I think this is the right one. I'll just let it play in there for a second. And if it is, we'll play this one. So just bear with me for a second. It is. So have a listen to this, folks, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Search for photos of Earth, he said. This shit will blow your mind. So I opened up the Google and I looked for photos of Earth. Well, a lot of photos came up. He said, click on the first. He said, that's the famous blue marble that everybody's seen. We've seen this photo 1,000 times upon our TV screen. But let me tell you something about that famous shot. It's not a photo at all, man. It was made in Photoshop, cause there ain't no photographs, but somebody tell me why. They're all just Photoshop cartoons, they're all just CGI. No photographic proof of a clone, no none at all. Why the hell can't no one take a photo of this ball? He was goddamn right. That shit did blow my mind. Cause I thought the blue marble was a photo all this time. Well, don't you think that's strange? He said suspiciously. Now, the fact that it ain't a photo seems pretty weird to me. I mean, the most important photo that man could ever take, this huge iconic image turns out to be a fake. Well, I couldn't quite believe it, man. I was pretty shocked. I needed further proof that this photo's photoshopped. He said, look up Robert Simon. He made that cartoon ball. He's the guy you should research. He works for NASA and all. He openly admits that it's all just artistry. He said, and I quote, it's photoshopped, but it has to be. There ain't no photographs, but somebody tell me why. They're all just Photoshop cartoons, they're all just CGI. No photographic proof of a clone, no none at all. Why the hell can't no one take a photo of this ball? Yep, every photo of the Earth is artist trickery. All the photos on Google, man, are as fake can be. Download all the photos and put them side by side. Compare all the continents, they're each a different size. Compare all the colors, each globe a different shade. If all of these were photos, man, they should look the goddamn same. Where's the continuity? There's none. No, none at all. All that NASA gives us is a bunch of cartoon balls, cause there ain't no photographs, but somebody tell me why. They're all just Photoshop cartoons, they're all just CGI. No photographic proof of a clone, no none at all. Why the hell can't no one take a photo of this ball? Now we're supposed to have this telescope, right, that's flying past the stars, taking beautiful photos of Jupiter and Mars. Well, I've got a small suggestion, NASA. Here's something you could do. Point that thing at planet Earth and take a shot or two, because there should be goddamn thousands of photos of where we live. but Hubble ain't taken one. That's suspicious, don't you think? We got all these fancy pictures of spinning galaxies, but not one goddamn photo of the Earth for us to see. Cause there ain't no photographs, but somebody tell me why. They're all just Photoshop cartoons, they're all just CGI. No photographic proof of a clone, no none at all. Why the hell can't no one take a photo of this ball? There ain't no photographs, but somebody tell me why. They're all just Photoshop cartoons, they're all just CGI. No photographic proof of a clone, no none at all. Why the hell can't no one take a photo of this ball?
Now, folks, that's the Flat Earth Man and No Photographs of Earth by the Conspiracy Music Guru. I'll just have a quick thing to read out just before I go back to Flat Earth Man. Luke and Tidy Town Spring Clean event takes place this Good Friday the 30th of March. They're all meeting on the village green at 9 a.m. and will allocate the walk from there to various parts of the village and the surrounds. All are welcome, but make sure to dress suitably and especially wear gloves. If you can, bring some tools, all the better. The main emphasis is on litter picking, but they plan to do other work depending on the numbers. Find and talk to them on Facebook, Luke and Tidy Towns, for further information. So that's a good community event taking place this Friday, and they're looking for as many volunteers to get out as possible to give them a dig out. So off you go, folks, and apply for that. Anyway, I'm going to go back to Flat Earth Man. That was the first song that I played there. Fantastic. The Flat Earth, what's it called? Don't believe in the photographs of Earth. There's no photographs of Earth. And listening to the lyrics of that song, there are no actual photographs of Earth. I've done my own little bit of research on this Blue Marble, and the guy who created it, as you said, Simmons, he even states that it's made up of data sets and then it's done in Photoshop because it has to be. There's no other way of doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Now that should be a red flag right there, shouldn't it? So why do they have to stitch it together like this? You know, why can't we have thousands upon thousands? If there are all these satellites, if there are all these real moon, you know, why should we have this much ammunition? You know, why should it's ridiculous. I think, you know, I encourage people to look into it, as you've done, and fair play. I take my hat off to you.
I mean,
for looking into it.
What I don't get is, right, they've got this Hubble Space Telescope, and for the last, say, 20 years, we've been, the odd time in the mainstream media, you know, NASA will, you know, reveal this image of deep space, you know, millions of miles across the other side of the universe, and you're looking at all this stuff, and for a while I genuinely believe they were just straight up photographs, that you know, this thing was zooming in so far, this Hubble Space Telescope that cost billions to make and put up in space. And then I say to myself, well, if they're all composite images as well, why don't, and if it is a genuine camera that they've got up there, why don't they turn the bloody thing around, take one photograph of Earth, show it to the people of Earth in real time, and put to bed once and for all this flat Earth globe argument?
Exactly that. And if they did that, I'd quit my Flat Earth music tomorrow.
Oh no, don't do that. I mean, your songs are catchy anyway.
It's very suspicious.
And another thing as well that gets me on, you know, this Flat Earth thing, and as I said, I am not a Flat Earther. I just think it's an interesting subject, and Flat Earthers do put up a very cogent argument for the Flat Earth, and I think one of the biggest arguments that they put up is water finding its own level, and that's you know, physics will tell you water always finds its own level.
Well, that's the main one, isn't it? That's the main one. If somebody said to me, what are your top 10 flat Earth proofs, I think you know, the water finding its own level would be number one. I mean, any plumber will tell you that water always settles and finds its own level. So you know, that's testable, that's repeatable, that's observable. We can see that, we can measure that, we can test that. And the fact that we can see further than we should be able to see, given the curvature calculation, there's another one for you. So, you know, it's just about using your common sense, distancing yourself from the indoctrination from these so-called scientists and space agencies, which are clearly fraudulent now after all the research that's been done. And as I said before, I repeat, why is it that millions upon millions upon millions of people are now waking up to this?
Well, if
it didn't have any validity, if it didn't have any weight to it, then why are millions of people questioning what we've been told about where we live?
Yeah, I mean, I've interviewed a flat earther on this show over a year ago, a guy called Mark Sargent from the United States, and like, he put up an extremely good argument. One of the arguments he put up was the lack of flights in the southern hemisphere. Yeah. If you're flying, say, from Durban in South Africa to Sydney in Australia, they'll go northwards first to Dubai in the Middle East before flying to Australia. Why would they do that?
Well, if you look at a flat Earth map, the azimuthal equidistant map,
straight
it makes
run
perfect
across.
sense. It's a straight line. It's a straight line all the way through. So, why are we finding this evidence? Why have we got this ammunition? There should be none, there was a flight that had to make an emergency stop in Dubai, didn't it? And when you look at that ridiculous diversion that it had to take, it's like a right angle. But when you look at it on an azimuthal equidistant flat Earth map, it's a straight line.
Now listen, I was watching the media yesterday, the UK media especially, and yesterday morning, for the first time in aviation history, a 747 or a 767 Dreamliner from Sydney in Australia, I think it was Sydney in Australia, to London, direct flight, 17-hour direct flight, non-stop. I don't know if you heard of that now. It was the first time it's ever been done, and that happened yesterday morning in the UK.
I didn't know that, no.
Yeah,
what's the significance then?
Well, I'd like to know what route they took. Was it
I see, yeah.
Did they go across the globe or did they go across a flat plane? 17 hours from Australia, without stopping off. Normally they'd have to fly north to Dubai. If you're going to Australia, you used to have to fly somewhere in the Middle East and then get a flight from there over to Australia,
Yeah. Well, that requires further investigation, doesn't it? I've not heard of that, but that's certainly interesting.
It's just when I seen that in the media yesterday, that's something I might look into, and see what sort of route they took, if it's been published at all. Now, one of your other songs that I find quite fascinating is the one about fake satellites, that there are no satellites up there.
That's
an interesting conspiracy now. And one of the big arguments for that is the amount of towers that are getting put around the world, like 5G towers especially now, they're moving to the 5G network.
Yeah.
Why would they need all of those towers if they've got satellites in space monitoring everything we do?
You're asking the right questions, aren't you? Exactly that. Why would it's all ground-based towers, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I had to do a bit of research in making that song. There are other researchers that are far, far, far more well-researched than I am, and I'm just taking their research and putting it into song. I don't class myself as a flat Earth researcher. I mean, I look at their stuff.
But that's it. I'm just looking at their technology and asking the question. Like, they're saying there's all these satellites that are up there monitoring everything we do, sat-nav, all that sort of stuff, TV, radio, etc., etc., etc. Then you've got all these ground-based antennas everywhere, and one thing that sort of puzzles me is anytime you see a big criminal trial, say in Ireland or even in the UK, where they're using mobile phone evidence to pinpoint people's locations. Joe Bloggs might say, well, I wasn't at the scene of the crime, I was on the other side of the city.
Triangulation.
And they triangulate your position, and they use the masked information for that. I mean, wouldn't satellites pinpoint your exact location as in the way SatNav was meant to work? That makes me think SatNav works off triangulation and not satellites.
Well, there you go. I mean, triangulation has been going since the Loran system that I sing about in that song, and that goes back to I think the 1940s or 50s or something. I mean, that is ground based. That's ground tower based. To triangulate your position. They use that for ships. So I mean, it's certainly very, very curious why we can't see satellites within these so-called photographs of Earth. We can't see them from the ISS. There are no real photographs of satellites. When you type into Google satellites in space, all you get is cartoons and CGI. Yeah. Again, I sing about that. So this is very curious. This is why these subjects and these conspiracies have validity and they have merit. They shouldn't do. They really shouldn't. I'd love to believe we live on a spinning ball with satellites orbiting around 20,000, 30,000 satellites, as we're told, but clearly the evidence suggests that we are not.
Yeah, I've seen a documentary there once where they were talking, I think it was somewhere in Europe, I think it was Sweden, I'm not sure, but they were using these massive giant balloons to lift satellites up into the air, and there's even someone put a blog up on the internet that one of these things landed in Brazil. And someone got actual photographs of this thing on the ground, with a balloon attached to it.
That's in my video. If you look at the video, there's a line that says one crashed in Brazil. There was a satellite that crashed in Brazil and many other places. But like I say in the song, that information never reaches the masses.
Well, it never reaches the mainstream media. I mean, what the mainstream media is like anyway. They just fill that with just crap. Like all this crap that's going on with Russia now, and every country is jumping on the bandwagon, including our own, I might add. And, it's annoying a lot of Irish people that our Prime Minister, Leo Varadkar, who's only half Irish, is jumping on the bandwagon now, saying he's going to throw out some Russian diplomats. He might be throwing them out of this country. I mean, we're supposed to be a neutral country. We shouldn't even be getting involved in this argument. But I mean, most of our argument is bullshit anyway. But that's not what we're here about. Now the satellites. I'm going to play the satellite song, but I do need to go to some ads. So do you mind hanging on for a couple of minutes? And when I come back, I want to play the song about the satellites because I think
it's very sure, not at all. You carry on, man.
Folks, we'll be back in 2 more minutes with Flat Earth Man. Talk to you very shortly.
You're listening to Liffey Sound on 96.4 FM.
All right, let's do this. Pill to take when somebody says that satellites could be fake, But don't you find it a little suspicious that you can't find any real satellite pictures? It might be hard to be believed, but maybe we're all being deceived. Yeah, maybe, huh? Listen up. Well, if you think you've seen one up in the sky, you can't see them with the naked eye, because a satellite is about the size of a car, at least 300 miles away. You can't see that far, whatever those dots are that move in the night. I'm telling you, that ain't no satellite. Welcome to the satellite hoax. Just another one of them NASA jokes. You can't find me a picture of a satellite without bringing up a bunch of that CGI. Just a bunch of cartoons all over the place when I search satellites in space. Yeah, type that phrase into Google, folks. Let me welcome you to the satellite hoax. Before all of y'all start getting pissed, I ain't saying that satellites don't exist. I'm saying that it's theoretically absurd to think these devices orbit the Earth, 'cause I've seen them hanging from big balloons. Even Google's doing it too now, man. Have you seen that? Yeah, go check out Project Loon. And every now and then a satellite crashes, but that information never gets to the masses, 'cause then you'll find out how these things really work. They're just on balloons, man. They don't orbit the Earth. 'Cause once upon a time, one crashed in Brazil with the balloon attached to its steel. Welcome to the satellite hoax. Just another one of them NASA jokes. You can't find me a picture of a satellite without bringing up a bunch of that CGI. Just a bunch of cartoons all over the place when I search satellites in space. Yeah, type that phrase into Google, folks. Let me welcome you to the satellite hoax. Yeah, check it out, man. How can satellites be in the thermosphere when the temperature up there is way too severe? How can that type of equipment survive? How comes those satellites aren't burned alive? I'm telling you, man, it's just a pack of lies. There ain't no orbiting satellites, because 99% of our communication comes from undersea cables and cell tower stations. And GPS is ground-based too, man. Go check out a system called LORAN. It's a military system for navigation that uses ground towers to track your location. Are you seeing it yet? Welcome to the satellite hoax. Just another one of them NASA jokes. You can't find me a picture of a satellite without bringing up a bunch of that CGI. Just a bunch of cartoons all over the place when I search satellites in space. Yeah, type that phrase into Google, folks. Let me welcome you to the satellite hoax. You see, Tesla figured out how to communicate without the need for satellites in space. It's mostly ground-based towers, you see, and that's how you get your satellite TV. They've monetized what Tesla made for free with their fake satellite industry. It was Arthur C. Clarke that theorized these things, these sci-fi boxes with solar wings. Another Freemason, it's no surprise. They make science fiction and they monetize. They've stolen Tesla's technology and they get you to pay for your TV. Are you seeing it now, people? Welcome to the satellite hoax. Just another one of them NASA jokes. You can't find me a picture of a satellite without bringing up a bunch of that CGI. Just a bunch of cartoons all over the place when I search satellites in space. Yeah, go type it into Google right now. And let me welcome you to the satellite hoax.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that was the flat-earth man and the satellite hoax. Now, I just played the satellite hoax there. I have to say, that's a catchy little tune as well. I was looking at your video. It looks just as authentic as NASA's videos.
I know, it's shocking, isn't it? I mean, they get, $52 million a day to produce the kind of crap that we get, we get given the...
I heard you on a radio show a few weeks back, and am I correct in thinking that you done all your videos with an iPhone and a green screen?
Yeah, well, they're recorded on an iPhone, and I've got a green wall behind me. I had a green screen, but it took up too much room in the studio, so I just painted the wall behind me green.
Well,
I record everything on an iPhone, and I upload it to my iMac, and then I import it into iMovie, which is a pretty limited program. But yeah, that's how it's all done. It's not rocket science. And if I'm doing that with zero budget, I mean,
that's what
these
I'm thinking,
are all zero budget music videos.
And
so it's pretty convincing.
Oh, you think the billions upon billions, it's probably into the trillions now that NASA have received since the late 1940s, early 50s.
It's about 6 trillion now, and what have they done for humanity exactly?
But what are they doing with all that money? If what you say, right, and what all the flat earthers are saying, that, everything that NASA does is all fake and it's all CGI and it bullshit, essentially. What are they doing with that money? Yeah. Where is all that money getting funneled to, and what are they doing with it? What do you think they're doing with it?
Oh, I don't know. People are getting very rich. I don't even think it's about money anymore, because obviously, we're talking about the power elite here, we're talking people that can print their own money. So I don't think money is the...
Well, these people don't need money,
It's the goal here. I think,
Well, I think
exactly. That's what I'm saying. They don't need money. They can print it, can't they? So I think the goal is obviously control. I think it's mind control. I think it's satanic. I think it's these are occultic rituals. I think that's what these rocket launches are. I think it goes very, very deep. I mean, I'm only at a superficial surface.
But you just have to look at the names of all the rockets. Columbia.
I think it goes a lot deeper.
But if you look at the names of their rockets that they've been sending into space, if you look at the names of their rockets, like Columbia, Discovery, they're
Apollo.
all... Yeah, they're all like, mythological names,
Cultic names, yeah.
Cultic names, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Apollyon is, I don't know, is the god of destruction. I don't know too much. I don't go too deep into the mythology of it all. Right. There are other researchers out there that would do it much better. But yeah, you're right. There are cultic names.
And that's a bit strange as well, that they're... And NASA seem to be backing away from space travel now. They're sort of handing over the reins to Elon Musk.
Exactly. I think a lot of people are waking up to this, and NASA don't want to be the fool guy, so they're handing over all their stuff to Elon and these other so-called private space agency, which they're nothing of the sort. They're not private at all. They're all part of the same.
Exactly, yeah. One thing that struck me about Elon Musk was this fake, and I'm going to say it was this fake bloody car launch a few weeks back, right, where he put his Roadster up into space. Now, one thing that I noticed, the first thing I noticed about that was that they took the rear view mirror out of that car, and I think they did that so you wouldn't see what's called the fourth wall. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, Google the fourth wall.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
That was what struck out for me.
There are so many problems with that footage. I mean, Globebusters, which is a brilliant YouTube channel, that they went into a lot of detail, tearing apart and analysing forensically the video footage of that so-called car in space. They did a terrific job of pulling it apart. And you will see that, those anomalies like no rear view mirror. Of course, that would show the fourth wall. But if you the fact that the stuff in the car was not space hardened, the fact that the globe glitches out in the background and the car doesn't, it's all fakery.
But even Musk said it himself in an interview. He said, it has to be real because it looks so fake.
Yeah, but what kind of paradoxical statement is that? It's like saying, I can tell he's straight because he looks so gay. I can tell it's hot because it looks so cold. I mean, what kind of ridiculous thing is that to say?
Yeah, I listen to Elon Musk, during interviews, and there's a term we like to use over here in Ireland. He comes across to me as a gobshite, and I say that in the nicest possible way, but he comes across as a gobshite who hasn't a bloody clue what he's talking about.
No, he doesn't come across as the intellectual that he's made out to be, does he? He can't really form a sentence.
Exactly, yeah. It's like, you're sitting there talking to a tick. That's how I look at him, do you know what I mean? And I'm looking at him saying, how did this fella become a billionaire, you know what I mean? I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm certainly a hell of a lot smarter than he comes across.
Yeah,
as, you know?
I'm in two minds as to what he is, whether he's a useful idiot, whether he's, MK mind controlled, whether he has no idea of what he's doing, or whether he really does and he's a good actor. The jury's still out on that. But, if you just look at that car in space, it's just, you can tell it's ridiculous and very occult as well. There's people putting out a lot of videos talking about the occult side of it. It depends how deep you want to get into it. Yeah. It goes very, very deep down the rabbit hole, but I can tell you now that stuff that we were shown was absolute nonsense, globe-enforcing nonsense. But
it's sort of like, I remember the day that was broadcast, I was at a conference down in the middle of Ireland in a place called Athlone, and I deliberately went back up to my room at 8 o'clock because I wanted to see it live on the news, but I actually missed the launch. But the amount of people who were talking about that launch that day, just normal people saying, we're going to go home and watch the launch of this SpaceX rocket, this heavy rocket, whatever it was called, launching a car into space. And I'm saying, they're spending all this money just to launch a car. Why would you want to do that? Why would you launch a car into space? To what end? To prove that space is real, that all this footage is actually real?
I think to a couple of ends, really. I mean, it's globe enforcing as well, and as well as, Tesla is a failing company as well, you have to remember. So, I'm sure that their shares rocketed after that stunt. Yeah. So I think there's a few more, and there's the occultic side to it as well. But, it's all a bit strange.
I think it's strange the way they robbed Nikola Tesla's name for the name of that company, this big electrical company. And, as you well know, Nikola Tesla, he has been suppressed for the last God knows how long. It's only in the last few years that people are getting to know his name. I remember I'd done a course, I'm going back 10 years ago now, 8 years ago, in 2010. And one of the modules on the course was environmental studies and all this stuff. And you got this girl in, and she was an environmentalist and all that. And she was teaching us about conservation and, saving energy and all that. And I said, look, at all this what you're trying to teach us, I said, is all bullshit. And she says, how's that? I said, Nikola Tesla. I says, he gave us free energy over 100 years ago, and his stuff was suppressed. And you're banging on here about fossil fuels. And her question to me was, who was Nikola Tesla? And I said, listen, go away and do more research. So she went away that weekend, but when I went back into the course into college on the Monday, she called me aside and she says, I was over in London at an environmental conference, and some conspiracy theorists started banging on about Nikola Tesla at the conference. So she went away deliberately that night and started Googling Nikola Tesla. She came back to me and she says, I'm going to have to change the way I think about the stuff that I'm teaching, so it had an effect on it,
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's brilliant. I love to hear that. These so-called teachers, they just parrot information.
But that's all they do. That's all.
I don't blame them. I was there once, parroting the information that I'd seen on documentaries, and parroting the whole evolution paradigm, because I'd seen it on TV, and I thought that was part of my education. So I don't blame people for reacting like that. But of course, once you go away and do your own independent research, you find that the opposite is true.
Yeah. Now listen, the next song I'm going to play is Puppet Show.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's one of the more humorous ones,
I think it is. I think that's a brilliant song. So sit back and listen to this one, folks. This is one that's about, I think it's about the space station, isn't it? And it's about NASA again as well. So have a listen to this, folks. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
Space addiction, those astronauts are not in space. It's written all over their stupid face. See, I can spot a lie from 100 miles, and I can spot a fraud from the way they smile. Didn't you learn nothing from the fake moon mission? That puppet show from President Nixon. Well, listen up, they're doing it again, it seems. Check out the harnesses and green screens. I used to work a lot in film and TV. I know a bit about the television trickery to create the illusion that you're somewhere that you're not. A green screen is what you're gonna use a lot. Or if you wear a harness and attach it to the ceiling, the illusion that you're floating is what they'll be believing. All you're watching is a puppet show. Yeah, the whole world's a stage. Astronauts, they're actors, of course, and yeah, they all get paid. Look at me, ma, I'm floating in space. No, you're not, you're lying to the human race. So let me tell you something about a zero-G plane. This thing flies up and then down again. Some weird stuff happens if you're on the inside. You start to float as the plane takes a dive. Simply add an actor that's trained to deceive, and you got yourself an astronaut, or so you believe. Plane flies up and that's everyone's cue. Then action, we got some deceiving to do. Plane flies down and then everyone knows to start the ISS live show. Floating in a plane with zero-G, but you only see astronauts on your TV. All you're watching is a puppet show, yeah, the whole world's a stage. Astronauts, they're actors, of course, and yeah, they all get paid. Look at me, ma, I'm floating in space. No, you're not, you're lying to the human race. When I looked at these fools, they're filming spacewalks in buoyancy pools. NASA's gonna tell you that it's just for training, to practice for space station maintaining. Well, I thought about that, but if that's the case, then why the hell can I see bubbles in space? Take a hard look at the next spacewalk and tell me if you can see bubbles at all. Open your eyes, man, I'll bet you a quarter those spacewalks are filmed underwater. I can see space bubbles everywhere. Hey, NASA, how the hell did those get there? All you're watching is a puppet show, yeah, the whole world's a stage. Astronauts, they're actors, of course, and yeah, they all get paid. Look at me, ma, I'm floating in space. No, you're not, you're lying to the human race. When you see an astronaut aboard the ISS, take another look at your TV set. They're pretty good at faking, so you gotta look close. Pay some attention to the way the actor floats. If you ask me, that ain't zero gravity, but Hollywood effects that I see on my TV. Take a good look at the whole damn thing. These lying bastards are just puppets on a string. It's all a big science fiction puppet show. The game's up, assholes, cause we all know. Thanks for the show, NASA. It's been a blast. Now take your fake station and shove it up your... All you're watching is a puppet show, yeah, the whole world's a stage. Astronauts, they're actors, of course, and yeah, they all get paid. Look at me, ma, I'm floating in space. No, you're not, you're lying to the whole human race.
Local programs, local presenters, local news. Tune to Liffey Sound 96.4 FM.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're very welcome back. The text number is 087 062 7138. That's 087 062 7138. Or you can leave a comment on the Words You Don't Know Facebook page. If any of this is getting to you tonight, if it's shaking up your belief systems. Anyway, I'm going to go back to the flat earth guy. You obviously you have a real name, don't you?
Yeah, I do. It's Alex.
Alex. All right, well, I'll call you Alex from here on out if you don't mind. And listen, who's the dog?
That's my dog Eddie. I've got a couple of dogs. I've got one called Jimmy, who's named after Jimi Hendrix, and I've got Eddie, who's named after Eddie Van Halen.
Happy days.
Obviously, a guitar influence there. And one of them is camera shy and cannot be trained, and the other one is just dopey, like Eddie.
Eddie seems to love the camera, doesn't he? Yeah, he's in a lot of videos.
Well, if you just dangle a carrot in front of his face, he'll do anything, really. And, I mean, he entered the first video that I did by accident. He came into the studio and started licking my face, and I caught it on video, and I thought, that's a cute thing. I thought I'll include that in the video. And my wife said, why don't you put him in all the videos?
Yeah, you should.
Just
he's a great little mascot. So listen, how long does it take you to write a song, get it all produced and get a video out and put it up onto YouTube?
Oh, probably about a month, I think.
So there's a lot of work goes into it. I know I asked you to do me a song for the show, but I'll settle for a 10-second jingle. I'm joking. But I'd love one in the style of what you do. I think your stuff is absolutely fantastic. Now, I'm going to play another one now in a couple of minutes. Do you still believe we went to the moon? What's your opinion on the moon landings? Do you think all that was faked?
Well, of course. I mean, that's why I put it into song. I mean, I tried to get as many questionable pieces of information in one song as I could. I mean, it goes. The song talks about the fact that NASA say that we can't leave low Earth orbit. They've been saying that for a while. They've been caught a bunch of times saying that.
And the Van Allen belts as well, saying they can't get through them.
Yeah, exactly. So either
they
the
weren't
Van
a problem
Allen
in
radiation
69.
belts are deadly or they're not. I don't know. And there's a bunch of other things in that song, and that's why I wrote that song, because if you research the Apollo hoaxes, which I believe them to be, you'll find out that it was nothing more than propaganda.
Yeah. It was just a 60s version of the movie Armageddon, if you ask me. It was just all CGI. But one thing that puzzles me about the moon landings is the amount of people who even today still actually believe it. And if you look at the technology that they said they used to get up to the moon, I mean, I wouldn't trust, like, the moon lander, for example. I wouldn't bloody get in the thing no matter how much I was paid. But one of the big smoking guns for me is the fact that NASA actually admit to have lost all the telemetry data from that mission and subsequent missions as well. And when you think about it, the single biggest event in mankind's history, and they lose all the data that relates to that event. I mean, that's
there you go.
Bullshit,
again, that's another red flag, and that's another lyric that I put into the song where it says, and the telemetry data that's all gone missing, 13,000 reels, are you kidding? A giant leap for all mankind, but you lost the data and no one can find. Of course, that's a red flag. I mean, that's just one of the things I put in the song. I mean, come on, the most important thing that man has ever done, and you can't show us the data?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But listen, I'm going to play this song because we've got about 15 minutes left, and I want to ask you a couple of serious questions about other serious conspiracies that are going on out there that you haven't covered yet. So, folks, hang back and listen to this. This is Do You Still Believe We Went to the Moon? Talk to you in a couple of minutes.
Well, a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. That's the title of a video that I watched on YouTube. You can see astronauts hanging from wires, proving that astronauts and NASA are liars. They analyze photos and highlight mistakes with the moon landing missions. They show it was faked. You can see them faking the photos of Earth. They use a round window to fake the curve. That's suspicious, don't you think? Yeah, listen up. I watched another documentary called Astronauts Gone Wild. Astronaut Buzz Aldrin gets a little riled. All he was asked to do was to swear to God that he went to the moon, but he would not. He was faced with a moon landing denier. Had a chance to show that he ain't no liar, but Buzz decided to punch that dude just for asking him to swear if he went to the moon. That's suspicious. So, do you still believe we went to the moon? Do you still believe what they're telling you? Just connect the dots and pretty soon you'll find out what I found out too. But if you question this stuff, you'll be labeled a loon. You'll be called a conspiracy theory buffoon, but I don't care, man. I'm still gonna make this tune, cause I know that we didn't go to the moon.
What if you swore in the Bible that you walked on the moon? You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't.
And how about those moon rocks they gave to museums? And thousands of people did see them. But one museum took a closer look. They soon realized that something's afoot. The rock they were given turned out to be a fake. Just a piece of old wood, not a rock from space. Yeah, when God made the moon, he saw it was good, but apparently made it from petrified wood. Yeah, that's suspicious. Listen up. In another museum sits an astronaut suit. Take a good look at the tread on the boot. It doesn't match up with the prints on the moon. And y'all still believe what they're telling you? Or how about that phone call that Nixon made to the moon that's 250,000 miles away? When I can't get a signal on my cell phone line, I guess phones were better in '69. Well, do you still believe we went to the moon? Do Do you still believe what they're telling you? Just connect the dots and pretty soon you'll find out what I found out too. But if you question this stuff, you'll be labeled a loon. You'll be called a conspiracy theory buffoon, but I don't care, man. I'm still gonna make this too, cause I know that we didn't go to the moon.
And this certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made to the White House.
Yeah, you went straight through those Van Allen belts. It wasn't a problem, right? Nothing was felt. But now you say it's a problem and you can't get through. This problem needs to be solved, according to you. But didn't you solve that problem back in '69 and you flew straight through them 5 more times? You wonder why I think it's fake when there are so many Apollo mistakes, like the telemetry data that's all gone missing. 13,000 reels, are you kidding? A giant leap for all mankind, but you lost the data and no one can find. Come on, man, are you kidding? Do you still believe we went to the moon? Do you still believe what they're telling you? Just connect the dots and pretty soon you'll find out what I found out too. But if you question this stuff, you'll be labeled a loon. You'll be called a conspiracy theory buffoon, but I don't care, man. I'm still gonna make this too, cause I know that you can't go. No, there's no blast crater from the lunar module. Probably because that thing is just a model. Or the flag that flutters with no atmosphere. Don't you think that's a bit queer? Intersecting shadows means another light source. Do I think it's fake? Yeah, of course. The whole thing was filmed on a Hollywood set. Directed by Kubrick is my best bet. The moon's so cool, we'd love to explore it, but we can't get past low Earth orbit. Do your research, people, I think you'll find. But NASA admits that a bunch of times. Listen.
Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
I can go to the moon.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Flat Earth Man and Do You Still Believe We Went to the Moon? And if you listen to the lyrics in that song, it's a very interesting subject. Alex, one thing that I noticed now about the lyrics in that song, as you said there, the telemetry data, Nixon in the Oval Office having a conversation with someone on the phone who was apparently on the moon. I mean, I sometimes ring my girlfriend who's out in the kitchen and I can't get a decent signal.
There you go. And I think I addressed that in the song as well. Yeah, I mean, I guess phones were better in '69.
They must have been, yeah. Come on. It is when you look at it that way. Like, it's really it does open your eyes up to all the actual bullshit that they're coming out with about space travel in general and going to the moon and everything else about Earth as well, including the photographs of Earth and stuff like that. Now, listen, on to more serious now. I want to play a little bit of the Gravity song now in a couple of minutes as well. But I want to ask you, the more serious conspiracy theories out there, you know, that have a real negative effect on humanity, like 9/11 and stuff. Do you have any plans to do songs about that? Or is that just, you know, a little bit too touchy?
I don't know. I mean, I try to keep my stuff informative, entertaining and fun. I don't think there's a lot of fun to be had by talking about 9. I suppose you can make it humorous, but I think most of the people in this circle of information already know enough. I mean, I think there was a survey done and I think the results were like 80% of the American public now do not believe the official narrative of 9/11. Great.
I think anybody with more than 2 brain cells wouldn't believe the official narrative of 9/11.
Well, there you go. I don't think I will be making a song about that. I've had a few requests for it, but I think that one's been thrashed to death, really. I think it's pretty obvious if you just spend a couple of hours looking into it. I don't know. I'm more about the fake NASA stuff. I'm going deeper. For me, 9/11 was just the tipping point. Was the very first thing I learned, and now I'm halfway down the rabbit hole, if you like. So I'm doing deeper stuff, and I will probably continue to get deeper. But I don't think there'll be any songs about 9/11. For me, that's a foregone conclusion.
What's your opinion on if for argument's sake, the Earth is flat, just for argument's sake, and all this NASA stuff is all bullshit, and they've never gone to space and stuff? What do you think is the big agenda behind it all? Why this big conspiracy? Why not just come out and say, look, the Earth is flat, so what? We still control it. Do you think they're hiding land or something like that they don't want us to go to?
I do think that that question has a lot of different answers. I mean, there's spiritual answers for that. There's obviously corporate answers to that. Yes, I do believe they're hiding more land. If you go look at a YouTube channel called Flat Earth Paradise, he puts together a lot of the ancient information about other lands, and he talks about when NASA actually tells you they're going to outer space, what they're actually doing is going to outer lands. And this whole nonsense about extraterrestrials, when you break down the word extraterrestrial, it actually means extra land.
Yeah, extraterrestrial.
So these things that we've seen coming into our land are from the outer lands, the extraterrestrials, the extra land people. So I do believe, that is one of the reasons why they're doing this. They're hiding extra land. It's, of course, another a favourite one is, of course, hiding God, hiding the Creator.
Yeah, I think that's that's one of the big things for me now. I'm not a religious person. I've absolutely zero bloody time for religion. I'm fairly spiritual, all right. I don't believe that out of nothing there was a big bang and everything that we can observe has been created from nothing. Hallelujah. That's just a bullshit bloody argument. I've never heard such crap in all my life. And it's the same with the theory of evolution. We evolved from monkeys. Give me a bloody break.
Exactly. Yeah, I was watching all the documentaries, and I was a Darwin fan, and I thought I was being educated with all of that. But of course, once you do your own research, you realise it's absolute frigging nonsense. So,
I look at
the
Darwin.
reasons as to why is there are many answers as to why they would hide where we live. Many answers to that.
But if you look at Darwin, the theory of evolution, he wrote that when he was in his 20s. That's when he was sent off to study wherever he did in the Galapagos Islands, wherever he went. He was in his 20s. Most 20-year-olds these days can't iron their bloody shirt. And he went away and discovered this theory of evolution and says, oh, by the way, we all derive from monkeys. Give me a break, will you?
Yeah, just remember he's Sir...
Monkeys. Give me a break, will you?
Yeah, just remember he's Sir Charles Darwin and part of the elite.
He's part of the elite.
And buried at... Where was he buried at? I don't know, one of the famous cathedrals somewhere. So he's part of the elite. Yeah, so what can you say about that?
True. Now, your theory on gravity, don't believe in gravity. Do you think gravity is... bullshit? I mean, that's what we're given to believe in the globe. That's why we all stick to this ball, because gravity mysteriously holds us on.
Yeah, gravity, when you look at it with a critical mind and, the natural physics of buoyancy and density can explain gravity. When you realise who theorised gravity, it was Isaac Newton, another Jesuit Freemason, has a book on Freemasonry. So you've got to trace these things back to who first invented or theorized these things. Again, as I say in the song, it's never been proven, but they teach it to the kids. As far as I'm concerned, gravity is indoctrination and not truthful, trusted information. Again, these are lyrics that I'm pulling out from the song.
Well, I can still remember
gravity is I believe it's still a theory and never been proven.
Well, it is still a theory. It's the theory of gravity. It's not the fact of gravity. It never has been. Although, as you said, in school, I remember being in school at 8 years of age, and I remember the teacher explaining the globe to us and explaining gravity, because I can distinctly remember someone in the class asking, well, the people that live on the bottom, i.e. Australia, are they not upside down compared to us, and why don't they fall off? Oh, gravity. And it was all just, shut up, sit down, don't ask any more questions. That's it now, you know what you need to know, and, we're not going to tell you anymore.
There you go. I mean, you're taught that before your critical thinking skills can kick in. I mean, there's a lot of... what does the G stand for in the Freemasonic logo? Could that mean gravity? Because that's the thing that explains all of their nonsense. Yeah. It always goes back to gravity. So,
and without gravity, all these scientific theories, no matter what you look at, the whole of science falls down on its face. Everything will have to be torn up and started again. If there's no such thing as gravity, if it's a bullshit argument.
Well, there you go. There you go. So, it's just another thing that makes you scratch your head. It's another thing that I learned. I thought I have to put this into music. Gravity is a theory. It's never been proven. But the naysayers and the scientists will come along and talk to you about the Cavendish experiment. That's a load of bull crap as well. It's never been proven. It's never been observed. It's I don't know. It's just very, very questionable. We shouldn't be questioning this. Things should be cemented in stone. But they're not.
No. Well, listen, I have come up to the end of the show, unfortunately, Alex. I've got about 2 minutes left, and I want to play a bit of your song, Don't Believe in Gravity. So do you want to give out the name of your website where people can go and buy your T-shirts? I see you have some fabulous T-shirts up for sale on your website.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that. Conspiracy Music Guru. If you type that into iTunes, you'll find my stuff. If you type that into Amazon, you'll find my stuff. Conspiracy Music Guru. If you type that into YouTube, you'll find my channel. If you go to conspiracymusicguru.com, you'll find my website. So Conspiracy Music Guru. I'm sure you'll find me if you want to.
Put a couple of links up on my Facebook page, The World You Don't Know. Well, listen, Alex, thanks very much for coming on. It's been an absolute blast. It really has. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And I will continue to play your music over the next few months. Anytime you put a new song up, trust me, I will be playing it on my show, because I think they're worth playing. I think people need to hear that kind of stuff.
Oh, bless you. Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
I'm trying to do my bit here.
Yeah, if you ever manage to do that jingle, send it on to me. That'd be great. You can make up the lyrics yourself.
I'll liaise with you over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, if you want like a 10-second jingle, that shouldn't be too much.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. In the style of the songs that you do, I think it'd be great fun.
Yeah, sure, man. No problem, man.
Lovely. I'll talk to you again soon, Alex. You take it handy, my friend. Take it handy.
Hey, cheers, man. Bye.
Cheers. Talk to you again soon. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that was Conspiracy Music Guru Alex, aka the Flat Earth Man. As he said there, go on to his Facebook page, his YouTube page, just type in Conspiracy Music Guru and you will find his songs. I think they're fabulous little songs, and they're educational, you know, they're more educational than some of the crap you hear on the X Factor and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm going to play out with one of his songs rather than my theme tune, and the song I'm going to play out is Don't Believe in Gravity. Until next week, folks, this has been The World You Don't Know, and remember, the world is full of wonderful people. If you can't find one, be one. Talk to you all again soon.
in school about gravity. It was so cool. I had a teacher that knew it all. She taught me how water could stick to a ball, how buildings stick to the underside of a ball that spins like a carousel ride. Man, it all sounded crazy to me, but I love learning about gravity. I couldn't wait to tell my dad about the amazing day that I had. He picked me up, I was bursting with pride. He opened up the door and I jumped inside. He smiled at me and said, "How was your day?" I said, "Dad, I was blown away. I learned about this magical thing, but it's kinda got my head in a spin. I learned about this Newton guy. When an apple fell on his head, he surmised that there must be a force that's pulling it down, and everything's being sucked to the ground. A force that sticks us all to this ball. The people, the buildings, the oceans, and all. So it was written in history. Newton had discovered gravity." Well, he just looked at me and said, "Don't believe in gravity. Don't believe in fantasy. Don't believe, 'cause the theory's all it is. It's never been proven, but they teach it to the kids." Felt a little bit sad for me when I mentioned that word gravity. He said, "Have a little independent thought, a question what you've just been taught. I mean, how the hell could a ball that spins make a force so strong that sucks everything in? Yet birds and insects fly unaffected. Gravity must be so selective. Think about it logically, 'cause that don't make no sense to me. You gotta question all those preachers preach, question all those teachers teach. You see, gravity is just a bunch of bull. That Newton guy's just a lying fool. These guys like Newton shouldn't be trusted. They're free Masonic lies that have been busted. In fact, my boy, it's density, and that's why things fall down, you see. An object always falls to the ground if it's heavier than the air that surrounds. If it's lighter than air, then it'll tell you one more time, boy. Don't believe in gravity. Don't believe in fantasy. Don't believe 'cause a theory's all it is. It's never been proven, but they teach it to the kids. For bursting your bubble, but that kind of thinking can get you in trouble. These theories they try to put in your head, it's all just pseudoscience, he said. They'll have you believing in all kinds of crap. That gravity nonsense belongs in the trash. Believe me when I say to you, there ain't no gravity, and that's the truth. Well, my daddy made me think that day. He made me think in a different way. I did some thinking for myself. Put that theory back on the shelf. That gravity crap is indoctrination, not truthful, trusted information. People need to wake up and see there ain't no such thing as gravity. And let me hear you sing it one more time now. Don't believe in gravity. Don't believe in fantasy. A theory's all it is. It's never been proven, but they teach it to the kids. One more time now. Don't believe in gravity. Don't believe in fantasy. Don't believe 'cause a theory's all it is. It's never been proven, but they teach it to the kids.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, the secret oath, and the secret proceedings.
Breaking humanity, one soul at a time. This is the World You Don't Know radio show with your host, Nick O'Connor.